Hello everyone, my name is Ernie. I'm the co-founders of Multiply and Bespoke Habitat. Do you know that celery is actually the most addictive drugs in the world, right? A lot of people has really been addicted to it and they couldn't really survive or they felt suffocated if they couldn't receive the next month's salary. This was being shared with me when I was listening to one of the podcasts and one of the coaches talked about this thing, right? His name is Naval, and he mentioned about, talking about the most addictive thing in the world, right? It didn't caught my attention when he mentioned about drugs and all this thing because I thought that was the number one thing that came across my mind. But he started to mention about, the most addictive things is actually known as celery. So that's triggered the thoughts and went hard into my heart itself and tell me that, hey, this is really something that I should think about it. So he mentioned that, everybody has been working very hard. There are active hours to exchange for money, and so that at the end of the month, right, they get paid. And because of that, the cycle keeps moving on, right? So it becomes an addictive journey for them to continue to earn the salary. If not, they couldn't survive in terms of their money expenses. So that was something that I learned, and I know that, hey, how can I get rid of these drugs itself if I have to continue my journey in my corporate world? I know that this is not the right way to go because I have to continue working non-stop just to earn the salary. So why is it bad in terms of getting salary and be addicted in terms of the drugs angles, right? Because everyone have a limitations of their lifespan, right? Everybody roughly know that you could have about 20 to 30 years of your work life. But when you start to exchange using your own times to exchange for money, it means that it is actually an active income. Or itself, everybody say that, I want to look for a new jobs, right? So what does really jobs means, right? Even in Robert Kiyosaki mentioned that, jobs means just over the broke line. It means that whatever incomes that you earn through salary, you probably will earn through a line that you can survive and you can do the bare minimum things that you can do, which is why it's just over the broke line. But when it becomes an addictive portion, right, it means that it falls below the broke line, right? So this is when people start to fall apart, right, when they couldn't receive salary in the angles, right? And how can you really get out of this thing? There are many people who do different stuff, right? I just want to highlight to you some of the people of how they started. Even though it could be a simple things like side hustling, some of the people want to go into online business, some of them want to go into freelancing, some of them want to go into small businesses. If you really ask me, everything is possible, right? It's just that whether you have the passions and you have the energy to really push it through. But a lot of time when people start to talk about this thing, they feel that, hey, then you are like what? You're like finding another jobs, right? But to me, this is when things start to change in terms of mindset shift, right? Going to get the jobs, you are in the process, right? People really form something, you are part of the process. But when you start to do hustling, you form processes, right? And you learn new things, right? And when you start to grow your side hustling business in that space, there's a chance that you can go beyond that because when the business start to grow, your investments start to grow, you might be getting what? Other people's time or other people's talents to come in to assist you, right? When things start to change. But for me, right, how do I really do it? I decided to choose a asset class that's actually I'm interested in, right? I know that I like business, I like properties, and the rest, I didn't really focus a lot, right? I like these two asset classes. But to me, property is still my number one choices because it is something that I know that it will churn up a recurring model, recurring cash flow for me on a money basis. So this is the areas that I like it, right? Because I want to stay in peace, whether there's a market movement up and down. My rental are pretty much the same, especially in Singapore context. And this is where I like it because I like property because it's predictable, it's stable. I can do a lot of control. I can control the price that I want to buy. I can control the things that how much I want to sell. I can choose the tenants that I want. And there's a lot of many reasons why I decided to do that. But as you know, right, a lot of people when I talk about properties, right, their first mindset will be then you need to have a lot of cash and a lot of resources to go in, right? But to me, it's really about learning the right strategies to apply and really get out of this angle of the mindset shift that perhaps it is not about how much resources you are, but how resourceful you are, right? And I decided to use strategies to scale my property portfolios, right? And why do I do it this way? Because By doing that, angles of property investing or going into co-living space, right? I know on the money model, I build cash flow, right? To me, cash flow is king because I'm building wealth. I'm not looking at the angle of how to be rich. Rich is things like, someone tell me that, hey, Ernie, I have like a sudden a windfall of maybe $2 million. This is called rich. Suddenly you got rich. But the thing is, how long can you last, right? So I don't want to be rich at an angle, but I want to be wealthy at a good runway. If you are keen to know how you can actually get rid of this drug addiction, right? Click on the link below with the descriptions and find out how our education programs can really help you on that.